Headlock?
Headlock, yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, just like that.
What's up, everybody? It is Matt Powell with Pramek.com. I'm here with Dave Dempsey. Dave, how are you?
Doing great, Matt.
Dave is down here in Atlanta. Dave is from Detroit, and so he's been down here. We've been training together for
2006.
2006, so right at 10 years together. He's leading the charge up in Detroit. So he came down here. We've been knocking it out in the old middle school looking garage. So I swear we're not going to put on a play for you. What we are going to do is talk about recently on Facebook, we had people, I said, hey look, if there are any videos that you want to see answered, we had a lot of people ask a lot of different questions since Dave was down here. We're going to handle one right now. And that was about standing locks and escapes. So Dave, tell us what your thought processes are. And if you want to check out Dave's bio, you can go over to the Detroit Pramek. We'll talk about that in a second. You can check out his bio so that you know that he's not making stuff up. Thoughts?
All right, my thoughts on standing locks. I personally try to avoid the whole concept of applying any sort of joint lock in a standing position. I don't view them as very effective. Between like judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all those, you rarely ever see any standing locks in those in any competition, and the reason for that is they really don't work that well. Without the element of the ground to stop them from moving, you're still kind of free to move around. And we'll get into that in a minute here, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So
what would you say they are good for? Because people are going to put them on.
So yeah, they work very well as a transition. So if I have you in a wrist lock or an elbow lock, I can use you to move you around with that. But it's not anything where I would finish with it. It's a good way to get you on the ground, but from there it's something else. So it's great. So if I have you in a wrist lock, I can move you around with the wrist, but I'm not going to finish you with a wrist lock. It's kind of silly.
All right, so we're going to come back in a second and actually show you exactly what we're talking about. Cool.
Okay, so just a moment ago we were talking about why the use of standing locks are not something that you would really see a lot and why they're not quite as effective as you may have been led to believe. So here we are, we're going to kind of show you how we can get out of them and how you can move around, and this will give you a good idea as to why it's not really the fight ender that some people think it might be.
All right, so let's start with here.
So here I am. You know, my posture's obviously over. He's got control of my arm and there is pressure on my elbow. But, I mean, I still have a lot of movement in here, and if I can get my elbow from pointing up to anywhere else except for that way, the pressure is largely off and he loses a lot of that control. So even for something small, like right here, he's got my wrist constrained, I can twist my shoulder back, all of a sudden my elbow's down. He's still got control of me, there's not really any pressure here, and I'm not really in any danger of losing this. Not only that, I mean, just to escape from it by pushing into him, something simple, step, here, I've got control of him. Okay. Say from just a standard kind of outside wrist lock. He's twisted me in here. This works if I'm already gonna, kind of go with it, or if I'm gonna bend down. At the same time, I can twist out of this as well. It's not so much twisting this way, it's twisting this way with your whole body. So you can put some pressure on there. So I can feel it. By coming to this direction, I take the pressure off already. All right here, in a pretty good position, I can put pressure on him. My balance is relatively fine, as you can see here. And just something as simple as just twisting my body. As long as I hold onto my own wrist, I'm out. Your hand's not exactly a great position to hold on as far as a lever goes. So no matter what he's doing, I can still get control of it. Now if he used to grab it and throw me backwards immediately and hard, go ahead and do it a little bit. So here, I have to compensate. And you can see I take a step, I reestablish myself. But from here, I can push on his arms too, and now we're just in a wrestling match. Go ahead and lock it on. Give me a little bit of pressure here. From here. I'm out.
Let's do it one more time.
Sure.
So go ahead and talk about the mechanics of what we were just doing, because it looked like we were silently...
Yeah, we're silently squatting.
Squatting.
So the motion for that, so he's got me in the headlock here. My posture, as you can see, is I'm kind of bent over, my head would be locked in control. It's not a real dangerous position, it's not a great position either, because I mean, he can start beating on my head, kind of do whatever he wants. The way to compensate for that, if if you watch my hips, my head is down. What I want to do is I need to put my hips under my head. It's really just a basic squatting motion. My position of my neck and head does not really change, so it's fairly easy to do. So just come down. I'm in a good position here. Now his whole body's leaning on me. So even if he's holding on tight, I can come up hard and it'll break. This is what I teach basically at the beginning of my classes. Really simple way just to understand the mechanics. Obviously there's other ways you can do it. I can hit him in the back of the knee, I can grab his face, I can hit him in the groin. All stuff that makes it open up much more easy.
In previous videos, one of the things that we've talked about when it comes to these kinds of standing locks is that you can start to begin applying counter pressure to equalize out what's being applied to the joint, and then you can start to move from it. And you've got different movement options. And I think that's one of the main things to remember is that the more range of motion that you have in the joints, the more that you're going to have options in terms of what you can do in order to escape the lock. Even though whatever is being applied to you, depending on the joint, may remove 1 or 2 degrees of motion that you have in the joint and remove that planal movement, you've still got 3, 4, 5, 6 that you can move through. And that's the most important thing to remember when you're looking at range of motion, is making sure that you're doing your range of motion exercises, and then taking those range of motion exercises, if you're doing combatives or martial art, take your range of motion exercises into the training room, have your training partner put something on you, and then see where your training partner gets when you're putting the range of motion through their locks. Now a lot of people are probably like, okay, this is a little bit of a strange video because this is, Pramek. The most important thing to remember here is that we're trying to make sure that people see a very well-rounded mechanical side of what we're doing, and that it's not all conceptual all the time. And that's one of the things that Dave is really leading up within the Pramek organization, is he is driving a lot of this base, traditional, very well understood martial art concepts and being able to push them out, and then we're taking the Pramek science and putting it on there with it. So anyway, until next time, make sure you subscribe below. I'm Matt Powell with Pramek.com.
I'm Dave Dempsey with Pramek Detroit. We're PramekDetroit.com. Feel free to check us out.
Good to see you. Thanks. We hope you enjoyed the video.
Have a good one.
Scary.
See you guys later.